Hello, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another video. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Zhu, and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history, and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. Religion, which is the topic for today's video, is a big and controversial topic. It is big because throughout human history, there have been many different religious beliefs, different religious organizations, some of which are very big, different rituals, ceremonies, practices, and so on and so forth. There have been a lot of people, especially philosophers, who have discussed different religions and have come up with a lot of theories. It is controversial because different individuals have different opinions about it. Speaking of controversies, I'm sure some of you will not agree with me or even criticize me for my views after watching this video. Not only does religion cause conflicts among individuals, but it also has the potential to become a source of conflicts between groups of different beliefs. It has the potential to be a source of social instability as well. As a matter of fact, throughout human history, religions have caused numerous military wars between countries and religions of different beliefs, resulting in terrible killings and brutal conquests and occupations. Today's video is not my first video about religion. I've made a number of videos about different religions in the past. But today's video can be considered as an introduction to the study of religion, because I will focus on one fundamental question, which all religious studies must begin with. That is, what is religion? What does it mean to believe in a supreme being? In my future videos, I will talk about different theories concerning religion, such as conflict theory and functionalism, and how these theories explain the existence of religion, and why and how they oppose or support religious belief systems. Of course, I will also offer my own critical thoughts and evaluations of those theories, including my viewpoints of religions. Please subscribe if you are interested. Religion is a big branch of study in philosophy. Philosophers in this branch explore complex and theoretical issues about religion. Of course, you don't have to be a philosopher to analyze, explain, and clarify religious concepts and activities. There are many other ways, such as a historical approach, which deals with the development of religion, a theological approach, which studies the nature of divine, or an anthropological approach, which focuses on how religion had its impact on ancient society, or a sociological approach, which views religion as a social institution and a cultural phenomenon. For example, as a professor of sociology, I often do surveys about people's religious beliefs, affiliations, and practices. Unlike a lot of philosophers or sociology professors who define religion in complicated and very abstract terms, I prefer a simple definition in plain language. That is, religion is a system of beliefs in something supernatural. That is, something that doesn't exist in the physical world and is therefore beyond normal human physical experience, such as God. However, not every person who believes in God has the same idea about God. For example, to believe in God is different from to merely believe that God exists. The French philosopher Voltaire believed that God was the creator of the world, because in his opinion, there had to be some initial force to start up the universe. But he didn't believe that God played any role in his view of life. People like him are called deists, and I believe many of you are deists as well. Furthermore, not all religious people believe there is God. In Buddhism, for example, there is no such thing as God. By the way, even though Buddhists worship the Buddha, they do not regard him as God. The Buddha was a historically verifiable person. Of course, Buddhism is a religion because Buddhists believe in the concept of reincarnation, for example, which is obviously supernatural and beyond human experience. Finally, not every religious person is monotheistic, believing only one God. For example, Hinduism is polytheistic, with a wide range of beliefs and practices. Then, what does the word God mean? What are the basic attributes that are contained in the concept of God? For most religious people, the image of God is male, white, and old with beards. But they can't easily clarify those attributes. They struggle to answer questions like these. Why is God not a female figure? Can God be a young man? Is he human-like? How do you know? Moreover, God is said to be all-powerful. But many people have found that it is not always obvious that these attributes are consistent with one another. For example, what does it mean to say God is all-powerful? Can God do anything, everything? If yes, can God make something so heavy that God cannot lift it? Is God good by nature, or does God choose to be good? If God chooses to be good, is it the case that God is capable of doing evil? But that contradicts the common belief that a truly good being cannot do anything bad. If God is good by nature and cannot do bad things, then is it the case that God has no choice? Can you use the word good to describe a person when that person actually has no other choice but to be good? Another very important but complicated issue about religion is the so-called problem of evil. Though the problem can be formulated in different ways, the simplest and most direct is this. If you accept that God is all-powerful, that God is all-knowing, and that God is good, and you also accept that there is evil in this world, then you have to agree to one of these three propositions. 1. God cannot do anything about evil. 2. God doesn't know about evil. And 3. God doesn't care about the existence of evil. But all of these are contradictory to the common conception of God. Thus, the problem of evil poses one of the biggest challenges to those who believe in God. Now, you may ask, why are some people religious? In other words, what is the reason that makes them believe in something that is beyond their senses? Well, this is actually a big question which deserves a separate video. A lot of studies and surveys have been done by philosophers, sociologists, and psychologists, including myself. Based on my surveys, the most common answers were, what's the meaning of my life if I don't believe in God? Or, God created everything, so we should believe in Him. Or, what would happen to me after I die? Or, my parents brought me to the church every Sunday when I was a child, so I think I'm religious. Or, religion gives me comfort and hope when I'm in difficulty. Of course, there are many other reasons, such as social and historical. But those are beyond the scope of this video. As I said, they deserve detailed explanations in a separate video. Please let me know if you are interested. Finally, as a professor of sociology, I know it through my research and surveys that many people mistakenly consider themselves to be religious. In my opinion, just because you go to church regularly or read the Bible often, it does not necessarily make you a truly religious person. To be a religious believer, you must believe at least 3 things. First, you believe that something intangible to our senses exists, such as God. Secondly, which is more important, you believe that such an intangible thing, such as God, is immanent, powerful, knowing everything, and probably loving and kind. Or it is something you seek either in this life or afterlife, such as reincarnation. Finally, if you believe in religion, you also believe that your fate is predestined and you should engage in regular religious activities, such as praying, reading spiritual books, attending religious gatherings, etc. If you don't believe these 3 things, you should not categorize yourself as a religious person. Another point that I want to make is that to be religious is not the same as to be ethical. I often hear people say that they are not as religious as they wish to be, when they actually mean to say that they are not as morally good as they wish to be. While religion has a lot to do with morality, they are not the same. But again, this is a big topic which deserves a separate video. Please let me know if you are interested. Well, I think that is all that I wanted to talk about in today's video. But before I go, I'd like to call your attention to the differences between religion and superstition. While they both refer to beliefs in supernature, superstition is characterized by beliefs or practices on luck or specific events, but religion typically involves a broader system of beliefs. Religion is a group behavior, whereas a superstition is individual behavior. Superstitious beliefs are often based on fear of the unknown and faith in magic or luck. Unlike religion, superstition does not involve worship of God or obedience of certain moral codes. An example of superstition is the belief that the number of 13 will bring bad luck. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.